whenever I found out about Taylor, like, kind of having this relationship that she didn't end with this other girl, and I told Taylor to get out of my life and everything, and she kept begging and texting me, please, just, like, hear me out.
Taylor Wright was born on April 24th, 1984, a date that would one day mark the beginning of a story both tragic and unsettling. Her early years were steeped in hardship. By the age of just 13, she had already been pulled from her mother's care and placed into the foster system. A child adrift, shuttled from one temporary home to another. Life had hardened her quickly. Behind her small, fragile frame and thin, unkempt hair was a young girl who had already learned that survival meant keeping your guard up. The world had failed her too many times, and so she built her own armor, one made of silence, grit, and an instinct to trust no one. Then came the woman who would change everything, Nancy Murkison, a neighbor who saw something in Taylor that no one else did. Nancy remembered the first time she laid eyes on the frail young girl. "I don't know what it was about her," she said, "but I just told her, you can stay with us." And with that simple act of kindness, Taylor finally had something she'd never known before. A home. A real home, where she was safe, wanted, and loved. Under Nancy's care, Taylor flourished. Through her teenage years, she began to rebuild herself, still guarded, still wary, but undeniably kind. Friends described her as warm and outgoing, someone who always made the effort to connect. Beneath that tough exterior was a woman molded by adversity, but driven by compassion. In North Carolina, Taylor met Jeff Wright, a U.S. Marine. Their relationship was unconventional from the start. "Our first date ended with us throwing knives at a dartboard," Jeff later recalled. She was strong, competitive, and smart, yet somehow effortlessly graceful. The two married in 2007, and by 2010, they welcomed their son, Drake. To Jeff, Taylor was the perfect mother, devoted, protective, determined to give Drake the stable childhood she never had. She found her purpose in law enforcement, joining the Jacksonville Police Department and serving 2 separate stints between 2008 and 2013. Her colleagues remembered her as a brave, spirited officer, sharp, disciplined, and respected. But behind the badge and the bright smile, cracks were beginning to form. After moving to Florida, Taylor's marriage began to unravel. What started as small disagreements spiraled into resentment. On their 10th anniversary, over dinner, the couple decided to end it. A quiet acknowledgement that love had turned into war. What followed was a bitter, drawn-out divorce and custody battle. Taylor fought fiercely, not just for her son, but for what she believed was hers. A $100,000 settlement from an old car accident, money she claimed should remain hers alone. The court didn't agree. A judge froze their assets, but Taylor somehow managed to withdraw the full amount anyway, directly defying the order. It was a bold move, one that would set off a chain of events leading her down a path from which there would be no return. The cracks in Taylor Wright's world were widening.
I know she was
During
trying
one
to hide
heated
money
argument, her
from the
husband,
Jeff
Jeff,
situation.
called the police.
At the time of her
decision that would
disappearance,
change
Wright and her
everything.
ex were in an apparent
Taylor
legal
was
battle
arrested
over the
for
custody
battery.
of their son.
Though Jeff later
way
dropped
that
the
she put
charges,
everything to
the
me
damage
was
was
like she was
irreversible. No department would hire her
trying
again.
to get
Her
life
badge,
together,
her
get
identity,
kids,
her
get
purpose,
back on her feet,
gone.
like Jeff had done.
Without a
So
steady
much,
job or home,
to her
Taylor
to
made a
take away
heartbreaking
all of
choice.
this
She gave Jeff
money
full
that
custody
she
of their son,
had
Drake.
and
It tore her
everything
apart.
else.
She
In
texted
fact-
him every single day, trying to hold on to the one bond that still gave her life meaning. The judge in her divorce case had grown furious. Taylor was ordered to appear in court on September 12, 2017, with a check for $25,000, just 4 days before she would vanish forever. Still, she tried to rebuild. She reinvented herself as a private investigator in Pensacola and began dating again, exploring new connections. That's when she met Cassandra Waller, a school administrator with Escambia County Public Schools. Their relationship wasn't perfect, Cassandra struggled
Cassandra
with
and
Taylor's
Jeff, two
occasional
people
drug
with
use
close
and
connections
an
to
earlier
Wright,
betrayal.
seem
But
like
together,
viable
they
suspects
found
in the
something
case.
worth fighting for.
Anytime we have a
By
homicide,
September
obviously a
2017,
significant other, a
Taylor was
spouse.
moving into Cassandra's home. My whole birthday weekend was moving her stuff, Cassandra remembered, but I didn't mind. I was happy Taylor was also fighting for her son's custody again, balancing emotional exhaustion with determination. Through it all, she wore a bullet-shaped necklace, a quiet symbol of her resilience. A former cop, a mother, a survivor. Nancy Murchison, the woman who had once given Taylor a home, said it best. She loved her son, her brothers. She loved me. For Nancy, Taylor wasn't just a foster child. She was family. And soon, she would lose her daughter in the most unimaginable way. Friday, September 8th, 2017. The morning began like any other. Taylor planned to meet her friend Ashley MacArthur, a fellow former law enforcement worker, to run errands and, crucially, visit the bank. Taylor needed to collect the money Ashley had been holding for her, money she desperately needed before her next court date. Ashley MacArthur, 40 years old, married, once a crime scene technician with the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, was someone Taylor trusted completely. The two had bonded over shared police backgrounds. But Taylor didn't know the truth. Ashley's own life was collapsing. She'd been embezzling thousands from her family's company, falsifying records, and secretly funding an affair with Brandon Batty, the owner of a local pool hall. And just weeks earlier, Ashley had crossed an unforgivable line. On August 16th, Taylor had handed her $34,000 to keep safe during the divorce. Money Taylor was hiding from the court. Ashley had promised to place it in a safety deposit box. Instead, she forged Taylor's signature, cashed the check, and spent every cent, paying off debts, buying a motorcycle, even gifting Brandon a boat. For weeks, Taylor had been pressing Ashley to meet at the bank and return her money. Ashley stalled, made excuses. But now, with her court date days away, Taylor was out of time, and she was done waiting. What she didn't know was that Ashley MacArthur had already decided that Taylor Wright would never make it to that bank. September 8th, 2017. After weeks of delays, Ashley MacArthur finally agreed to meet Taylor. The plan was simple: go to the bank, retrieve the money, and put this nightmare behind her. That morning, around 11:20 a.m., Taylor sent what would become her final text to Cassandra. The two had been chatting casually throughout the morning. Small talk, plans, affection, and then nothing. Silence. As the hours passed, Cassandra's worry turned to dread. She called and texted Taylor repeatedly, but there was no response. When she finally got through to Ashley, the explanation made little sense. Ashley claimed that Taylor couldn't come to the phone. She was riding a horse on Ashley's family property. Cassandra was instantly uneasy. Taylor had been desperate to go to the bank that day. Horseback riding wasn't just out of character. It was unthinkable. Later that evening, at 7:58 p.m., Cassandra's phone lit up. A message from Taylor's number. "I'll call you later. I'm not angry with you. I just need to think." Cassandra froze. The tone was wrong. The punctuation, the phrasing. It didn't sound like Taylor. Close to midnight, another text arrived. "I'm okay. I just need some time to think. The move and court are stressful. I need a few days to myself. Everything is okay." But everything was not okay. Cassandra knew it. "I don't have any clue what's going on," she said later. "I just know something's not right. I was scared Taylor would never disappear without contacting her son. She texted Drake every single day without fail. And she certainly wouldn't miss Cassandra's birthday dinner, something she'd been excited about all week." Panicked, Cassandra reached out to Jeff Wright, hoping he'd heard from her. Jeff's reaction, however, was odd. He warned Cassandra to be careful, saying Taylor might get angry if she found out Cassandra had involved the police. The comment sent chills down Cassandra's spine. When there was still no sign of Taylor, Cassandra began calling hospitals across the county. Nothing. By September 14th, 6 days later, Cassandra filed an official missing person report with the Pensacola Police Department. Detectives searched Taylor's home on Berkeley Drive. Everything was still there. Her car in the driveway, her passport, her money, her ID. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. At first, police didn't suspect foul play. Spokesman Mike Wood told reporters, "We've investigated, and at this time, we have no reason to believe anything suspicious has happened. We believe she left on her own accord, but those who truly knew Taylor knew better." Her foster mother, Nancy Murkison, said, "This is not normal." She wouldn't leave her son. Someone's done something terrible to her. Behind the scenes, detectives were starting to see the same thing. They began examining everyone in Taylor's circle. The first person they looked at was Cassandra Waller, the woman who'd reported her missing. Cassandra's relationship with Taylor had been turbulent at times, but she was fully cooperative, surrendering her phone, laptop, and passwords immediately. Detective Chad Wilhite later said, "Cassandra wasn't hiding anything. She was very forthcoming." Then came the twist, from Ashley MacArthur herself. In an unexpected turn, Ashley told investigators that Taylor had been having an affair with another woman in a nearby town and that Cassandra had discovered it. According to Ashley, the couple had been fighting about it. The story was enough for police to obtain a warrant to search Cassandra's home. Inside, they found Taylor's ID, passport, and cash. Items Cassandra said Taylor had left behind during the move. But detectives also found something far more troubling: a revolver, resting quietly in a drawer. One bullet was missing. And for investigators, that changed everything. When detectives questioned Cassandra Waller, she calmly explained why a revolver had been found in her home. She'd purchased it only after Jeff Wright warned her that Taylor had once become violent with him. Nothing sinister, just self-protection. Investigators also discovered an uncashed $19,000 cashier's check. But every other part of Cassandra's story held up. Her phone records, location data, and timeline all aligned. She was cleared. Next, detectives turned to Jeff Wright himself. He certainly had motive: an ugly custody battle, a frozen bank account, and a missing $100,000. But Jeff was stationed hundreds of miles away in North Carolina, serving in the Marines, newly remarried. His alibi was airtight. Another door closed. That left only one person: Ashley MacArthur, the last person known to have seen Taylor alive. On September 15th, Ashley sat down with Pensacola investigators for her first formal interview. She appeared calm, even playful. She said she'd picked Taylor up that Friday morning, driven her around town on errands, then to her family property in East Milton to ride horses. After an hour or so, they supposedly returned to Ashley's house around 4:45 p.m. Ashley claimed she stepped inside briefly, and when she came back out, Taylor was gone. "Off to catch an Uber downtown for a beer," she said. According to Ashley, Taylor had taken the $34,000 cash she'd been keeping safe, tucked it into a duffel bag, and vanished. Detective Chad Wilhite noticed something off. Ashley wasn't anxious or tearful. She was flirty, casual, and strangely relaxed for someone whose friend had disappeared. The next day, September 16th, investigators uncovered the piece that blew her story apart. Bank records showed that a month earlier, August 16th, Ashley had deposited a cashier's check for $34,000 into her own personal account. The check was made out to Taylor Wright, but the signature was clearly forged. Ashley's financial trail told the rest. On July 3rd, her account balance was negative $43.33. It hovered near zero for weeks. Then, on August 16th, $34,000 appeared, and within days, it was gone. Credit card payments, a motorcycle, expensive gifts. She told me, "They'll never find that she's gone." 3 of Ashley's friends came forward next: Audrey Waugh, Alexis Cook, and Jessica Wheeler, and their stories were even darker. Audrey, a bartender and another of Ashley's lovers, testified that Ashley had planned to kill Taylor days before she vanished. She said she was going to spike Taylor's beer with cocaine, Audrey told investigators. She said this world would be better if Taylor wasn't here. Two others backed up the claim. Ashley had allegedly asked them how much cocaine it would take to cause an overdose. One friend recalled Ashley later confessing that she tried to drug Taylor's beer that day, but Taylor spat it out because it tasted funny. That's when Ashley changed her plan. She decided she'd just shoot her instead. By October 2017, detectives had everything but a body. Motive, financial desperation, opportunity, an empty family farm, and the theft of $34,000 as the spark that lit the fuse. They were close. But they still needed proof, concrete proof. And soon, they would find it, literally. Investigators had everything: motive, cell phone evidence, Home Depot receipts, and witnesses who'd heard Ashley plan the killing. But one crucial piece was still missing: Taylor Wright's body. And without it, a murder conviction would be nearly impossible. On October 19th, 2017, detectives made their move. They invited Ashley MacArthur back to the station, under the pretense of returning her phone. Once there, they read her Miranda rights and began another round of questioning. This time, Ashley's demeanor had shifted. Gone was the flirty confidence from before. She was guarded, resigned, almost mechanical. "I don't believe Taylor's been harmed," she said. "Taylor's doing what Taylor does. She's tough. She carries weapons, knives, guns. She's not an easy target." While Ashley sat in that interview room, search teams and cadaver dogs were combing through 3 MacArthur family properties, including one at 2201 Britt Road in Cantonment, the exact location her phone had pinged on the day Taylor vanished. And then, about 10 minutes after Ashley was released, the dogs alerted. In a wooded patch behind the property, near an old fence line, officers found something protruding from the dirt: a fragment of human skull, encased in concrete and potting soil, the very materials Ashley had bought on camera. A single bullet hole pierced the back of the skull. Detective Jeff Brown later testified that Taylor was likely taken by surprise by someone she trusted completely. Her remains were wrapped in a hammock, buried shallowly beneath the soil. Among the debris, detectives found her bullet-shaped necklace, the one she never took off. Lead prosecutor Bridget Jensen recalled her reaction. "My gut told me it was Taylor." The following day, October 20th, dental records confirmed it. Taylor Wright had been found, buried by her best friend. She'd been missing for 41 days. That evening, Ashley MacArthur was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, later upgraded to first-degree premeditated murder by a grand jury in November. Her bond was set at $1 million. For Taylor's loved ones, the discovery brought heartbreak, not relief. Nancy Mershausen, the woman who'd raised her, was shattered. "She's a horrible, evil person," Nancy said, "and I hope she rots in hell." Cassandra Waller, Taylor's girlfriend, released a statement. "Family, friends, and I are grieving the loss of Taylor. She was kind and outgoing. We pray justice will be served. I never saw it coming. She pretended to be my friend the whole time. Ashley took someone I loved." In February 2018, just months after the arrest, Judge Robert Perry shocked the community by granting Ashley pre-trial release on a $400,000 bond. She was fitted with a GPS monitor and confined to her mother's home in Gulf Breeze. But Ashley wasn't done facing justice. In January 2019, she was convicted in a separate fraud and racketeering trial, the same crimes that had first revealed her greed. She was sentenced to 7 years in prison plus 3 years probation. Prosecutor Bridget Jensen worried. That case had been circumstantial, and the murder case would be too. There was no DNA, no murder weapon, just cell data, money trails, surveillance, and motive. Still, in August 2019, the trial began. Jensen told the jury, Ashley MacArthur had motive. Ashley MacArthur had opportunity. Ashley MacArthur murdered Taylor Wright, and tried to bury the truth beneath concrete and lies. The defense claimed Ashley came from money, didn't need the cash, and was physically incapable of moving a body due to back pain. But prosecutors showed photos of her horseback riding, scuba diving, and fishing, proof that she was anything but fragile. Even her husband, Zach MacArthur, seemed torn. When asked if he believed she was capable of murder, he sighed. "I can't see her doing that. She's smart. This was just sloppy." After 4 days of testimony, the jury deliberated for just 3 hours. The verdict? Guilty of first-degree premeditated murder with a firearm. The courtroom erupted. Judge Shackelford sentenced Ashley MacArthur to life in prison, with a minimum of 25 years before parole. She showed no emotion, no remorse. Later, she was given an additional life sentence for the racketeering and fraud convictions, ensuring she'd spend at least 36 years behind bars, even if one verdict was overturned. For Nancy, the pain was permanent. "In so many ways, I feel robbed," she said. "I love her. I miss her." That will never stop. Cassandra still struggled to process the betrayal. "She was pretending to be my friend the whole time," she said quietly. And Drake, Taylor's son, grew up without a mother, raised by Jeff Wright in North Carolina. In April 2021, Ashley appealed her conviction. The Florida Court of Appeal denied it. She remains behind bars, not eligible for parole until 2044. Taylor's bullet necklace, recovered from the earth, became her symbol of strength, resilience, and betrayal. She wasn't just another victim. She was a mother, a friend, a fighter. The murder of Taylor Wright was more than a crime. It was the ultimate betrayal. A trusted friend who stole, lied, and killed for $34,000. Ashley forged her signature, stole her savings, murdered her, and then buried her in concrete, using Taylor's own phone to send fake texts while her family searched in agony for 41 days. Justice finally came, but it couldn't bring Taylor back. Drake grows up without his mom, Nancy without her daughter, but their message remains the same. Please, don't forget Taylor.